Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to No Name Gaming. My name is Alex Light here, Racing Lights Productions, your home for sim racing. We are live at the virtual Talladega Superspeedway for the Online Motorsports Association's Virtual Racing Championship Alabama 250. Tonight is the third round of the Season 10 playoffs for the VRC. Due to personal matters, we were unable to bring the race at Richmond to you last week. We apologize for that. But Jarrett Talmadge was able to come away with the win, even though Jolene Sims led over half of the race. That win is Jarrett's second on the season, second most for this year. Coming into tonight, we have just a few races remaining. Season 10's winningest driver, Drew Jua, still holds on to the points lead by a slim margin. He currently has a 7-point lead over Jarrett Talmadge and an 18-point lead over Jolene Sims. Min Heng, Tim Moore, and James Mendez all have an outside shot at the championship if they get a big finish tonight and even in the next few races. However, all eyes will be on the top three in points. Superspeedway racing is always a bit of a gamble. You never know what to expect and who to trust when out on track. Tonight, we will have 94 laps around the 2.66 mile oval of intense packed racing. After tonight, we only have 3 races remaining in the season. Next week, we go road course racing again at the Charlotte Roval, and then we head out west to Phoenix and finish up the season in the Windy City at Chicagoland. 3 very different tracks that could bring out some surprise winners. However, tonight, going to be very, very interesting to see how things play out. And I apologize for the camera angle. Not sure why it's doing that. It's not showing a very good view there. But it's going to be some exciting racing as we get ready to go to the grid here in a few moments as drivers finishing up their qualifying laps. Decent sized field here tonight. Unfortunately, playoffs, we just haven't had as many bigger races. Not sure if it's the commitments now that we're back into the fall, or if it's just a matter of we're in the playoffs and some drivers don't have a chance at the championship. So regardless, we've got 16 drivers here tonight ready to take the field, and we'll see how they do in the Alabama 250. As it looks like the field is set, let's go take a look at your starting lineup here tonight for the OMA VRC Alabama 250. So starting on the pole, you have Tim Moore, who's looking for his first win here tonight. He's really hoping to find himself in victory lane. Wants to be able to do that for the first time this season. Just about 0.07 of a second off from him, alongside Wilby McGinnis Motorsports driver Min Heng. In the second row, we've got Jarrett Talmadge from Premier Motorsports, and then Jolene Sims. And then going into row 3, we've got Ryan Miniker and Jonathan Amodio. In row 4, we've got Drew Jua and Brandon Schulenberger. And then in row 5, we've got Thomas Green making a return. We haven't seen him in quite some time, so it's glad to have him back on track. And then we have Tyler Glass rounding out the top 10. Going outside of the top 10, we've got Colin Teague in 11th, Gatlin Downey in 12th. And then in row 7, Jared Newton and James Mendez, the first of 3 drivers not to put down a lap time. Rounding out the field tonight, Kyle England and then Jimmy Amos. So that is our starting lineup here for tonight's race. We'll see how things go. It's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out with having it's a big race here. 94 laps, lots of time to make moves. It's a smaller field, so lots of things can happen. That is for sure here tonight. But a lot on the line for some of these playoff drivers. Some of them, it's kind of a last chance to make a chance at the playoffs. Some drivers pretty much on that edge of being eliminated for playoff, for the championship contention. For the top 3, we could see ourselves a new points leader here tonight, depending on how things play out. If Drew Jua has a rough night, he could definitely find himself in second place. But we'll have to see. Remember, halfway, we do midway points for a stage, but we do not throw out the caution, so we will keep going green when we hit lap 47. So it looks like drivers getting ready to pull out of their out of the starting lineup here. And actually, we are not getting any audio. My apologies on that. Not sure why it wasn't pulling it. Let's go ahead and make sure we get that all in here. There we go. Now we've got track audio. My apologies. Wasn't sure why it wasn't coming through, but now we are. We are all set. We get ready to go green flag racing here for the Alabama 250. And I do apologize. Unfortunately, did not have a moment to update the bottom ticker. So those results and the playoff standings and everything like that are currently outdated. So, yes, we do have the sound. Don't worry, Will. We got the sound now. I wasn't sure why it wasn't coming through, but we're good now. It's coming through. We're all set, getting ready to go green flag racing. The question is, who's going to pair up with who? You've got McGinnis Motorsports drivers on the top line there between, we've got Min Hang and Jolene Sims on the outside. We've got a couple OCM drivers. Jared Talmadge likes to work with Tim Moore as well. And we saw Tim, if you check out the Collegiate iRacing League, the CIL, he actually won their Daytona 250 race to kick off their Cup season. So we'll see how he fares here tonight, if he's going to be able to work that magic again as we're coming around to the front stretch. Getting ready to go green flag racing here in just a moment. Hopefully you all are excited for our third round here of the playoffs. Barney the flag man is ready to go, just waiting for the field to come around. And we are green flag racing for the Alabama 250 at the Talladega Superspeedway. So going through lap 1, we are all clear so far. The drivers in green on the scoring ticker. Sorry about that. Drivers in green on the scoring ticker are your playoff drivers. So you can see there's quite a few of them in the field here tonight. And you can also identify them on track with the green banner and green spoiler. So couple things to look out for there. You see OCM going to the top line here as we go down the back stretch. They're going to try and block off McGinnis Motorsports. That's going to leave Jared Talmadge all by himself, but he joins up with teammate Thomas Green. We'll see how they're going to fare as Thomas Green rocking the old good wrench of blue in that number 3 machine. Love to see a Dale Earnhardt throwback, and then you've got Colin Teague behind in the Budweiser car. So we've got the Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jr. Both on track. But early on, you can see a mix of lines here. And you can see the top line there riding all the way up almost to the wall. And yeah, you just have to be careful. Sometimes riding all the way up there, that car does get a little bit of drag off the wall, and it'll actually slow you down. But if the line can stay organized enough, it really doesn't matter. It's not going to affect you too much. But right now, you can see Ryan Miniker having a little bit of a connection issue as he keeps blinking in and out. That car also not staying very steady behind. I wouldn't be surprised to see if we have Drew Jua try to move around and see if he can get on the back bumper of Tim Moore, as that top line seems to be losing some momentum here. As the bottom line now pulling ahead, Jared Talmadge is going to be in the race lead, and actually looks like he might have to move out of the way for Thomas Green. So now Tim Moore behind the 16 of Jared Talmadge. And things kind of a little disheveled here, and not sure why we see Thomas Green going all the way to the bottom. Looks like he's just going to drop the end of the field here. And the big question, I mean, it's all about trying to read momentum, trying to find the line that's moving Who can you work with to be able to make momentum go the way that you want? Just talking from experience, the way that Drew and Tim run super speedways, they have it down to a science. They know exactly what they need to do in order to be able to get the most speed out of the car and be able to keep runs from other lines really catching up to them. All it takes is making sure you have that third person that you can really trust to keep that second person on the back bumper of the line leader. And you can see that here, exactly what happening. As you see Drew not pushing Tim, but he is pretty close and keeping him right up against Jared Talmadge. And now OCM going to the bottom line. They've got Drew and Tim lined up with each other. They're going to be able to take through the bottom and get up to the front. They're going to pass Jared Talmadge for 1-2. So right now, when Ryan Miniker gets up there, it's going to be an OCM 1-2-3. Ryan Miniker looking for his best result of the season. We'll see if he's going to be able to get that here. We still have a long way to go. Only lap 5 coming around to lap 6. But that bottom line seems to have a little bit of dominance. You can see a little bit further back, James Mendez going to jump up to the top line and see if he can make a move and latch on to Jared Talmadge. Top line just doesn't seem to have the organization that the bottom has so far. That bottom line much more put together. You've got Colin Teague and Jared Newton also on the back end of that. So Jared Newton rocking the Black Rifle Company, Coffee Company car in the 25. And then you got Min Hang in his LG number 2 machine. Looking back up to the front, Drew Jua is actually going to look to get around Tim Moore. And if you remember back to Daytona, it was the 1-2 between those two teammates. Tim was pushing Drew and then tried to make a move at the end. 3 wide, though. Colin Teague, Drew Jua in the sucker hole right now, but it looks like they should be able to hold that, depending on what these drivers behind decide to do, where they decide to go. Tim Moore just kind of deciding to hold off some of that momentum. He sees that middle line making a move, but that bottom line, he's got Jimmy Amos coming up ahead. He's getting ready to go a lap down. He'd be able to use that momentum. So here they come. He gets a little bit of extra momentum coming around to the front stretch. But look at Drew Jua. He is on the back bumper of that 51 machine. Pushes Colin Teague to his first lap lead of the day. And look at that gap that they created for themselves. That gets them up to the front and it's going to pull them up ahead. Early on, you can see the drivers that really know how to push and how to make the most of the car. But a lot of aggressive movement here, both from Tim and Drew. They work their way around Colin Teague, and now they've got Ryan Miniker behind again. As pack just has been kind of a mixed bag of things so far. We go hop on board a little bit further back in the pack. We haven't seen much coming out of this driver, but Min Hang currently just hanging out back here. He is in 12th place. But really, I mean, he's kind of just looking to keep the car clean, be in a good position. He'll work his way up for stage points in a while. You've got lots of time. We're only on lap 9, so there's plenty of time to be able to make moves. But you can see lots of drivers moving around. Nobody's really settling. And so it makes it hard to want to move up. You want to make sure that you're not going to put yourself in a bad spot. Like we see Drew Jua there, dropping to the back. Things getting really tight there. That is Kyle England in the middle of the 3 wide. And Ryan Miniker getting really dicey, looking to make a move for the race lead. Doesn't have any help. Isn't going to side draft either. Interesting decision there from the 48. He's a playoff driver looking to get himself a win. That would be huge to try and get him up back to the front for points. But he's got to be careful on the decisions he's making. It's a lot of really rash decisions. It seems like the car just not stable right now. And you also, it's not going to be easy to have drivers support you with pushing if you're having issues with connection, you know, you can see right there, James Mendez a bit hesitant. And now you've got Jared Newton, if I could get the name right there, of the 25, trying to get to the race lead. That's going to be Tim Moore on the outside with Brandon Schulenberger behind. And it looks like they're going to be able to stay ahead just for another lap longer. Ooh, not quite square there from the 51 of Colin Teague. As you see, he's getting a little wiggly there with the 25, and Colin Teague going to jump back up to the top line. Yeah, the thing about a smaller field is you have a lot of opportunities to make moves. You're not as locked into your line as you are when there is a bigger field. I mean, say when you have 30, 35 drivers going around, you really don't have a lot of opportunities to make passes. We saw that back at the Daytona 250 at the start of the season. A lot of drivers didn't really make a lot of moves. We had some long green flag racing, and the cautions at the end just came from trying to make moves, and aggressive driving really is all it came down to, trying to find yourself a win to start off the season. But talking about that compared to this, I mean, you look at how many moves have already been made in this race between lines, between drivers trying to get around somebody to get to the front. Lots of different lines have been taken, a lot of different strategies already coming out really early on in this race, and that's kind of the benefit to a smaller field, is you can make more aggressive moves and not really get stuck and have to go to the back of the line, where the back of the line is about 20 to 25 cars, as opposed to you've got maybe 5 cars, 10 cars at the end of the line. You can see his bottom line getting pretty organized here. You've got Drew Jua leading the charge, Min Heng behind, and there we go. Min Heng is going to get to the front. Second place, though. Drew Jua back to the race lead. Jared Newton in third, Jolene Sims fourth, and then you've got the 35 of Kyle England rounding out your top 5. That bottom line gets full clear, and Jolene Sims backing up here, so she's going to try and maybe make a move to try and get to the race lead. You can see Drew Jua gets to the front. He's going to drop back behind. Maybe an opportunity to try and save some fuel, I think is probably what the call is. Or nope, he's going to lock on with teammate Tim Moore on that outside line. So far, everybody is locked in with the front 13 all together. Thomas Green, Tyler Glass, and Jimmy Amos all off pace. And they're all driving around by themselves. You actually have Tyler Glass in the 8 machine coming up here on the field in just a moment. Jolene Sims going to get to the race lead for the first time. There's a big push here from Drew Jua. And when it comes to bump drafting, he is one of the best in the league. And we're going to take a ride on board here with Drew. So you can just see how well he does at pushing drivers, even around the corners. I mean, look how close he was able to keep on with her without having any momentum lost. And of course, when we go on the nose to ride on board with him, he gets off of Jolene, so he's going to go to the bottom line. He's going to have Jared Talmadge come in, but Jared, another one of those drivers, really good at bump drafting. He's really good at tandem, getting locked on with the driver in front. And you can see some of these drivers eventually, as they go, can do about a lap or so before the temperatures start to get really high. And then you just need to worry about trying to get the clean air. So you'll see drivers, if they're locked on for more than a lap, they'll start dipping a little bit below the car in front, maybe a little bit above, trying to get some of that clean air, or doing what you see Jared doing, backing off a little bit. But you got Brandon Schulenberger going to come up to the race lead now. A wide mix of drivers making their way to the front. Schulenberger, an interesting story. He's one of those drivers. He's missed a handful of races, but if you remember all the way back to the Daytona 250, had himself in the position to win the race and then got taken out on the white flag. So he's looking for redemption here at the Superspeedways. We'll see if he's going to be able to do it here at Talladega, but they are pulling away here up front. Jared Talmadge, Drew Jua, and Brandon Schulenberger. They've built themselves a little bit of a cushion Not much. It'll still pull the other drivers in, but very interesting that they're able to get that far ahead. And it's interesting to see drivers aren't as locked onto each other, trying to see if they can maximize runs and try to see if they can pull ahead of other lines. You see drivers really spread out here, trying to see if they can build momentum. And Drew, interesting, he keeps getting caught into the wall there. It's going to scrub a lot of speed as we go throughout this race, but the first 17 laps, green flag racing so far. Really good driving out here from the drivers. Very aggressive moves, but they've been very clean and very smart moves as we go throughout the field. And the question is, when are we going to see the pit stops? And who's going to come down with who? Will you see the manufacturers team up? Will you see teammates or team alliances? As Tim Moore drops below the apron there for a second. Looks like the 48 might have caught him a little awkwardly out of the corner. But Tim back to the race lead. Jolene Sims now falls in behind. He's got the McGuinness Motorsports drivers. Jolene Sims, Min Hang, currently right behind him on that inside line. But Brandon Schulenberger still trying to edge his way out front with Drew Jua behind. Don't be surprised that if they can clear that bottom to see Drew drop down in front of Tim. Try and get in front of his teammate once more. Like I was saying, pit stops we'll probably see somewhere between laps 30 and 35, I would think, to see our first one. If we go green flag all the way through, I would think we're going to see probably 2 rounds of green flag stops. And there's Drew trying to drop down in front of Tim. He's not clear, though, so he's going to be put in the middle. He's going to drop back to the end of the line. Which one he chooses, though, we'll just have to wait and see. So far, taking at drivers that have moved around the field. Our biggest movers so far of the day, James Mendez and Kyle England, both up 6 positions from their start. Then you also have Brandon Schulenberger and Colin Teague. They both are up 5. And look out, Drew Jua going in the middle, trying to utilize some side drafting. Not going to get it, though, as he's going to... Oh, never mind. We lost him there for a second. He's going to fall back in line. Right behind teammate Kyle England and in front of other teammate Ryan Miniker. Another driver trying to opt for the middle. Jared Talmadge going to settle in. And nothing coming there is, again, the inside line has been pretty dominant. Looks like we're trying to settle into one line groove into a bit of a train. A little early for that, considering you typically see that once we get ready for pit stops. But again, we're about like 10 to 15 laps off from that. Still a good bit, but we see now that second line forming up again. We'll see if they can get that momentum going. You've got Drew Jua and Jarrett Talmadge with Jonathan Amodio and James Mendez, all 4 playoff drivers on that outside line. Not sure what happened there with Brandon Schulenberger and Jared Newton. They have now fallen off the pace. They need to get things really organized there. They're going to work their way up back to the field. But a two-man tandem can be fast, but the problem is you need 3 to really be able to make anything happen. 4 is really going to give you better opportunity to catch up. But those guys are just going to be hoping for a caution at this point. It seems like the field's starting to thin a little bit. Like I was saying, it's going to be really interesting once we get strategy involved with the pit stops and come across the line this time. It will be lap 22. Still plenty of time remaining, but it seems like things have calmed down a little bit up here at the front, as now we have the top 10 in this pack, and Jimmy Amos coming around. This will be his second lap that he's about to go down. But looking forward to the rest of the season here. We talked about it during the pre-race. Next week, we go to the Charlotte Roval, which is going to be an interesting race. You think about the style of racing that you get at the Roval, it's more like that of Long Beach. It's tighter corners, narrower track width, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out, and especially since we don't have Eric O'Connor. Eric, very strong road course racer. Him and Jolene competing really hard for that race win at Long Beach. And then we had Eric win both Road America and Watkins Glen. Don't be surprised to see Jolene Sims and Drew Jua battling it out for the race win next week at the Charlotte Roval. It definitely fits both of their styles, but we'll see. That could very well come down to a strategy race, because that track is definitely not an easy track to drive. Turn 1 is a bit of a challenge. That chicane, not the easiest thing to maneuver around. You really have to figure out how to carry speed around it. We'll see how that goes next week. But then you also have, after that, we go to a 1 mile triangle with Phoenix, which drives like a short track, even though it's not a short track. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. Phoenix, traditionally, for a lot of leagues, does tend to bring out a lot of cautions. However, last week at the Richmond International Raceway, only 7 cautions for the OMA VRC. Very clean race overall. I believe it was, if I remember correctly, it was like 25 caution laps or something was run all race. Holy cow, what a run by Miniker. He's going to work his way around Kyle England. That was quite the push that he had. But then after Phoenix, we go back to one of the intermediate ovals, and I think one of the more interesting ones on the service. We have Chicagoland. Chicagoland doesn't really have a straightaway. That backstretch still has a curve to it. It's very cool. I think it's really interesting how it's run. But then it's also not a smooth track. Lots of bumps and imperfections in the track. With these cars, you really have to kind of finesse the car around to be able to find pace. If you were driving like trucks or ARCA, it's almost more like a Superspeedway. But with these, you really have to figure out where the line is. Think of more like a Kansas style with how it drives. But then you also have to really fight the car with those bumps. So the season finale would definitely be an interesting race at Chicagoland. You can see now a 2-man tandem on the bottom. Or 2-driver tandem, my bad. We got Jolene Sims and Drew Jua. Sorry, I keep saying it wrong. I actually found out through doing the Collegiate iRacing League with Drew. It's actually not Drew Jua, and he never corrected me throughout this entire season. So I keep saying it wrong by accident, but it's Drew Jua. So my apologies, Drew, that I've been saying your name incorrectly for the longest time now. Clouds setting in here over the Superspeedway. As you can see, that front stretch quite dim. However, we get to the back stretch, the sun seems to be peeking out a little bit. The 27 laps completed. And Min Hang has now found himself to the front. Hey, at least I'm not the only one, Will. I'm totally okay with the fact that I was saying it wrong. He doesn't correct you. Like, I wish he would have corrected me that I've been saying it wrong, but hey, it is what it is. And interesting to see the McGuinness Motorsports drivers kind of duking it out here, but OCM, I think, has the ultimate strategy. You can see them hiding out. They're using the draft, saving the fuel, making the McGuinness Motorsports drivers use up their fuel by leading these lines. And it almost seems like Min maybe backing off a little bit to try and get back in line so he can try and do a little bit of a fuel save here. Jolene moves to the top. Drew's going to stay down low. And my goodness, a big slope there from Drew. Jolene is going to drop to the rear there as we see her go all the way to the back to the top line. Thomas Green hanging on there as well. He's currently in the lucky dog position. Across the line, Drew race leader, Ryan Miniker in second. Still at top 10 holding on here. Drew has found himself up 6 spots to get to the race lead. Kyle England right now, your hard charger. And again, that could change the drop of a hat with 10 positions gained. And Miniker going below the line here. Not sure why. Maybe some clean air, but that car doesn't seem like it's close enough to be burning up under the hood. But now Tim sees the opportunity. He's going to drop to that bottom line, get the draft from the lap cars. Or will they try and shoot the middle here to move around? They do. It's going to tighten things up around the front stretch. Thankfully, it does expand to 4 lanes as they come around the tri-oval there. And it looks like Gatlin Downey. I want to take a look here. Gatlin Downey a little bit closer. It looks like the nose. Yeah, the nose has some damage there. Not sure what that would have come from. But that is unfortunate. That would be part of the reason why he's off pace. The fact that he's got nose damage like that. But now Tyler Glass going a second lap down. You've got Gatlin Downey going I believe that is his first lap down. And a mix-up here in front, as that is going to be the 7 of Jonathan Amodio dropping to the rear. And we'll see what... Oh! Single file, sorry, over the radio, it sounded like they were somebody was saying wreck, and so I got thrown off there. That is my bad, but Jonathan Amodio now stuck by himself. Let's go see what happened that threw that all out here. Keep an eye on Jonathan Amodio here. Got Colin Teague behind, not squared up. Oh my goodness, yeah, caught in the corner. What a save from the 7. Unfortunate for him that he has to drop all the way back by himself now. But we do have a caution. And that is Kyle England. Kyle England currently stopped on the apron of turn 4. Let's go back and see what brought out this caution here. Kyle England going to the high line. Here comes Tyler Glass. And Glass, oh yeah, he just catches him in the corner. Oh my gosh. Go back and watch that again. Watch that in like slow-mo to see just wow. He catches him not straight. It's hard to push in the corners. Let's see it right here. He hooks him right there. You can catch where it happens. And then yikes. Let's ride on board here with the 35. You can see just what it looks like on board of that wreck. Oh my goodness, doing 2 barrel rolls there. And unfortunately blew the engines. The car unable to do anything there. Come down pit lane. And Hang currently your race leader. Tim Moore second, Drew Jua third. As they come down, we'll see how everybody comes through for the pit exit. Will tires be taken? I would think so. As you see some drivers get up on the right side. Will 4 be taken though? Some drivers take the strategy of take 2 one stop to another. That's what Min Hang is going to do. Going to maintain the lead for him. Oh man, Drew tries to beat out his teammate, not going to get there. And Jolene, it's been pretty good so far. Yeah, there was some really good racing, some really big moves. The fuel window, Will, I believe is like 35 laps or so. I think for Daytona, it's like 40. So I think it's a little bit shorter. So we actually, that caution brought us, oh, it's 40. Is it really 47, Jolene? I didn't think it was that many laps. That's kind of surprising, actually. I didn't think it was that long of a fuel run. Yeah, that feels really big for Superspeedway. I thought it was closer to like 35, 30, like somewhere between 35 or 40. Because if you're going off what the car says now, it's going to show a little bit higher since you just refueled and you're under pacing. Interesting. You could have made 44 laps. Wow. That would be impressive, I'm not going to lie. Looks like Minhang is going to come down again. We will have a new race lead. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, jeez. Wow, that was almost bad. We almost had a wreck on pit road between the race leaders. Drivers coming down to top off one more time before we get ready to go green flag racing. And, oh, okay. Minhang is going to take his left side tires now. All right. A couple drivers electing to not come down that second time. Those cars would be Ryan Miniker, James Mendez, Jared Newton, and Jonathan Amodio. And a reminder that lap 47, start of lap 47, is where we take our stage, and we will award points to the top 10 drivers. Some drivers looking for crucial points here. Ryan Miniker, you've got James Mendez, Jonathan Amodio, drivers who are trying to get back into that championship contention. They need big points here tonight. And you've got drivers like Minhang, Jolene Sims, Tim Moore, all trying to see if they can keep themselves in that in that contention for the championship. The big stage points here tonight, but also go a long way. The lights are off on the pace car. We'll be ready to go green flag racing this time around. Yeah, if it's 47, it still won't be a fuel race. That won't be enough. 47 gets you to about lap 80. Still a little while to go after that. The James Mendez in charge of the field here. Get ready to go green flag racing. Our second restart here of the night. Our first restart, sorry. That inside line real long, and that is going to be unfortunate for the drivers on the outside. There's Ryan Miniker and Jared Newton. Not much that they're going to be able to do to hold off this bottom line. They're going to need some help and need it quick, because here comes Jared Talmadge and Tim Moore. They're going to be looking to get to the front pretty quickly, and they actually are going to go around. They're trying to see if they can get a go. Ooh, that was scary there. Oh my goodness, Ryan Miniker almost putting them into the wall there, and that's going to really hold them up on that outside line. That momentum was there and got killed in all of a second. Things very chaotic here on the outside. Driver's not sure where to go. Jared Talmadge stuck in the middle right now. Can't seem to find a groove. Here comes Tim Moore to the inside to join him as well. So James Mendez on that outside line with Jonathan Modio, Drew Joa, and Min Hang have now made their way to the front. Colin Teague, your race leader again. Thought we were going to have our second caution there pretty quickly. It was a very, very chaotic restart there. Drivers trying to shuffle around, still trying to figure out where they want to be as Min Hang jumps up in front of James Mendez. Mendez says, I will go around you now. Well, Drew is just up there trying to control the tempo of the race at this point. It would block off that middle line. He's going to see if maybe he can get that bottom line up ahead of Mendez. You can see he is right now side by side with Mendez as they go through the tri-oval. That's going to get in clear here. Back to the race lead, but a big push there from Talmadge. It's that outside line moving once again. Mendez, though, kind of struggling to find a groove. You see him bouncing around a good bit. As Drew looks to go up to the top. Can't, not quite clear. And you can see Talmadge trying to see if he can move all the way around. He's trying to stay on the back end of the 92 there, but the 92 just can't seem to find the line. He's not staying very steady, and it's making things difficult for that outside line to really make a run. As you can see there, here we go. Talmadge says, we're done with this. I'm moving to the front, getting that side draft off the 51, but is it going to be enough to get them to the front? It doesn't seem like it's going to be. As you see Tim Moore trying to catch up, trying to close in, but these cars, that closing speed is not as good as it used to be. Ever since one of the more recent updates, they've kind of brought that down, how much these cars would suck up to each other. The top line a bit far away for Drew to try and jump to the outside, but he right now looking out for himself. He currently has a 7-point lead over Jared Talmadge in second. So if he comes away with this stage win, and if Jared Talmadge stays further back in the field right now like he is, that is huge for him. It is going to really help him build that lead. But interesting to see him leave Min Hang on that inside line. He's going to go to the outside with Jared Talmadge and Tim Moore. Like I said earlier, we've seen Jared work a good bit with teammates of OCM. But now we see Drew goes to the middle, so we're going to see him drop all the way to the back. An interesting call considering stage is right around the corner. Got 8 laps to go till we get there. Min Hang is still going to hold on to this race lead as that outside line seems to be growing stronger and stronger. Colin Teague finds himself in a great spot right now. Non-playoff driver, can he cause a little bit of chaos by getting his first win of the season? I think that would be absolutely beautiful if we could see one of the few non-playoff drivers in the field here tonight come away with a race win. That would be really cool to see, but it's going to be a big challenge, a big ask, as a lot of these drivers keep trying to really push. That outside line bunch up real tight. They are tandem. The first 3 cars, that is Brennan Schulenberger, Jolene Sims, and Min Hang, all pretty much on each other's bumpers. That's going to help them build some momentum as they come around to the front stretch around the tri-oval. They should get Schulenberger up to the race lead once more. It almost feels like at this point, oh no, big wreck! And it's Colin Teague sideways. Oh, Jonathan Modio gets turned as well. And that is massive. A lot of drivers going to have to use their fast repair after that. We'll go back, watch that again. Now let's go from the blimp here, the wide angle, to see exactly what happened. It seems like what was happening out of the tri-oval. Colin Teague gets a bump that wasn't squared up from Ryan Miniker. You can see right there, he's on the quarter, not centered. Oh, and you know what? It actually came from Drew. He got the bump on Miniker, and that's what got Miniker into Teague. Unfortunate there. Let's take a ride on board here with James Mendez here. We'll ride on board with the 92. You can get a view of what it was like in the middle of the action. He almost made it through scot-free. Got a little bit of contact there at the end of the wreck. But good vision. He sees the gap, tries to shoot it. And it was right there. Amodio tried coming down and came into him. It caused him to get any damage. Let's go on board here. Gatlin Downey was the other driver that did a really good job finessing through this wreck. He saw it happen. Decided we're just going to hold up from here. As I go, you can see he sees the wreck happening. Decides, yep, I'm just going to slow all the way down. That kept him clean. After being a lap down, finds himself on the lead lap. He's got himself a clean race car. And I believe he hasn't used his fast repair either. Lots of cars coming down pit lane here. Jared Newton electing to stay out. Schulenberger leads the field down. You can just take a look here at the damaged race cars as they come down into pit lane. Which honestly, cars not too bad. Some of them more damaged than others. You have like Min Hang. His car unfortunately took a good beating. Jared Talmadge, not too bad though. Just a little bit of a crinkle on that right side. Won't slow the car down too much. Same with Colin Teague. It's similar damage there. Mendez took a little bit of a harder hit. I think that's going to slow him down more. But you can just see here, drivers trying to save their fast repair, it looks like. Which Min Hang, there's really not much to save on that fast repair. You really should just probably use it. Because that damage really going to slow him down. But I guess he's going to try and see what happens here. We get ready to go green flag racing. It'll just be a couple laps until we get to the stage. So Jared Newton currently the race leader. Tyler Glass looks like he's going to take his waiver on. I mean, that'll put him at, back one lap down. So then he'll be fighting for the lucky dog to try and get back on the lead lap. Valentin James Mendez still on pit road. They seem to have taken a significant amount of damage. But if you're joining this, make sure... Yeah, the OCM pushing definitely caused that wreck. Well... If you're enjoying this, make sure to join us next Sunday. So a reminder, the OCM series, or OCM, not OCM, the OMA VRC series has switched to Sunday nights for the final few races of the season. Just, they're very grateful to do that. To allow the races to still be broadcasted. I'm really appreciative of that. Thank you guys for doing that again. But we have switched to Sundays due to my schedule on Saturdays conflicting with the race schedule. And make sure you join us next Sunday, same time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, for our race at the Charlotte Roval. If you want to catch some short track racing, join us on Tuesday night. We have the American Motorsports Association late model stock cars. This week, they're going to Langley. They're very, very shallow track. It's going to be really interesting to see how those cars handle. Not really a lot of variety in line. We've seen some of the higher banking tracks, ones with like 14, 15 degree banking, they can kind of make the outside line work at some of them. But for the most part, we haven't seen a flat track like Langley yet this season. So make sure you join us for that. It's going to be really intense, really exciting racing. So we're getting ready to go green flag racing this time around. Top 13 cars all on the lead lap. Tyler Glass currently 1 lap down. Jimmy Amos is 4. Kyle England has decided to take it behind the pit wall and call it a night. Unfortunate for that playoff driver, but that wreck was pretty brutal, and he had a tow, so that definitely cost him some significant time. The outside line a little bit beefier this time around. Got 4 drivers out there. Schulenberger, Sims, Holmage, and Teague all on the outside line. Oh, never mind. It looks like we got Min Hang and Ryan Miniker as well. So a good mix of drivers there. We get ready to go green flag racing. Benny, the pace car driver, makes that hard left down to pit road. Barney, the flagman, waiting for the field to come through the Geico restart zone. The field in the hands of the 25, Jared Newton. Schulenberger along him on the outside, and here we go. Green flag racing for the Alabama 250. Once again, we've got 2 laps until we get to our stage. Don't be surprised if drivers try to get scrappy here for the first few laps. And if Jolene's number for fuel is accurate, we could maybe see some drivers try to stretch it if we go green all the way to the end. It would be a huge stretch. The possibilities there. Jonathan Modi, one of those drivers, though, needing to make moves to try and get big points. Tim Moore, another driver, trying to see if he can get back into that championship fight. James Mendez joining a fight as well. You see the back here. They're falling off just to see if they can rebuild. Jimmy Amos into the mix here. Don't be surprised maybe he drops off here. Stay out of the fight. One more to go until we get to our stage break. And it is still Jared Newton on the inside line leading the charge. Tim Moore behind. Jonathan Modi on the outside with James Mendez. And oh, we're wrecking on the backstretch again. That is Min Hang. James Mendez. Oh my gosh. Big wreck further behind. And somebody's car blew up there at the very end. And not sure how that one developed, but we will go back and watch the chaos. Another big wreck. After such a clean start to this race, things have just fallen apart here towards the end. Let's see. Things seem to fall apart here in the middle. Oh, yeah. Another push there from Drew. A checkup. Didn't see it coming. And that's going to get Mendez involved. Then Hang gets sideways. And that caught almost the entire back half of the field. Colin T gets caught up again. Thomas Green gets caught up in that. It looks like Ryan Miniker might have made it through clean. He does. Let's go on board here, the 48. Take a look here what happened for the 48. That bump. There it is. Oh no, he blinked! But my goodness, yeah, he got lucky. It fanned out big. He was able to find a huge gap in the middle of the track there. And that allows the 48 to stay clean. But your stage winner is going to be that of Jared Newton. We're not really able to get the rest of the field since everybody's coming into pits. So unfortunately, we can't do the full stage breakdown like we normally do. But we will do our mid-race break here in a moment once we get back into back onto the racing surface. And going over back to talking about the short track stuff, yes, the ARCA cars are tough at Langley. I personally am not a fan of Langley. That track, not my favorite. I just have no speed at it, and I'm really bad at flat tracks. But when it comes to the higher banked ones, I prefer like Lanier. I love Lanier. I love Southern National. Those tracks are awesome. They're so much fun. So now the cars are getting back on track. Let's go to our mid-race break here for a moment. I know we've got a lot of cars still in pit lane, but let's go ahead and break them all down here. See where everybody is on field. You can find your favorite drivers out on track. This is going to be for the restart. This is not the stage points. Unfortunately, was not able to get the stage points, and plus also with that caution, it definitely threw things kind of a bit for a loop. So Jared Newton is going to be your race leader. Took your stage win. It's his first of the season. Jonathan Amodio currently up in second place. That car looking fairly clean. Thomas Green, we haven't seen much from him outside of the opening like 10 laps, and then the car just kind of fell off from there. So we'll see how he fares on the restart. Coming in third place, maybe drop into the back. We'll have to wait and see. Gatlin Downey, another driver we haven't seen much of here tonight. He had damage on the car earlier on. Now finds himself up in fourth place. Jolene Sims gotten caught up in both wrecks now and still finds herself in fourth. And actually, it's going to be second place as we see a whole host of drivers coming down. Sixth place, Jared Talmadge. Then Ryan Miniker in seventh. Brandon Schulenberger coming down pit road. He will be eighth. James Mendez, that car magically pulled back together. It's like they pulled out the backup car. He is going to be ninth. Rounding out the top 10, Colin Teague. Tim Moore will be 11th. Drew Joie, as we see him flying around on the backstretch. That will be 12th place. Tyler Glass, another driver, trying to see if he can get his lap back. Oh, no, he does not get his lap back. He is going to be a lap down. Is going to be 13th. Min Hang, that's probably his night. Now we've got Jimmy Amos and Kyle England. Looks like we'll get ready to go green flag racing this time around. And we might hear from Min Hang here in a moment. Let's get things going green flag racing first before we decide to pull him up into the booth. Why is Woodstock spelled wrong? I'm confused. Where is Woodstock spelled wrong? Now becomes a question of fuel strategy. Will there be any driver out here that can make it all the way to the end of the race? Jolene Sims saying that it's 47 laps of fuel. If that's true, we might be able to stretch it all the way to the end of the race. But here comes Jared Newton leading the field around once more. He is still your race leader with Jonathan Amodio behind. And we are green flag racing once again at Talladega. Another restart, 45 to go. Jolene Sims gets a better jump than Jared Newton there. But he's got some help on the inside line. Jonathan Amodio, Thomas Green, and even Gatlin Downey. If Gatlin Downey can catch up, they're going to try and side draft on the outside line. And then everybody else just going to settle on in, it seems like. Let's go ahead and pull on. I'm going to pull in Min Hang here now that we're green flag racing. And get to talk to him. He's had an unfortunate night here tonight. But let's get a little bit of perspective here from the driver of the 2 car. And Min, it's been an unfortunate night for you. You were running really well and then got caught up in both of the last 2 incidents. Do you want to walk us through what happened in that last wreck?
Not much to walk through, I'm afraid. We literally just got cleaned out, and that was about it. Nothing to it, just Talladega.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough drive here. The opening green flag run was beautiful as we're getting a wreck again. That is going to be Jared Newton sideways. Green flag is still out, though. Somehow. Yeah, oh, there we go. There's the word coming in from race control. Caution is out. And that seems to be the case is what's happening here, Min. I don't know if you were just watching what happened on track, but it seems to be somebody gets like a wayward bump or just isn't expecting a bump, and that causes a spin. And that's what's happened with pretty much every wreck from here.
I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm just looking at right now, 25 did come up and wiped him out, so I made a previous prediction that it's gonna be non-playoff drivers that take out every playoff driver except Drew Jua, because, you know, he's gotta wrap up this championship, and it's looking, you know, pretty right, so.
Yeah, right now, I mean, he's in a pretty good spot. I don't know where he was, though, for stage. Based on the wreck and everything like that. So, not really sure. But currently, you're what? You're 4th or 5th for points, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the only chance I really have at the championship is if Drew wrecks out just like me, so unless that happens, it's pretty much wrapped up for me at least, so.
So even with like a big race next week, because you're really good at the road courses typically, but you were pretty good at Long Beach, if I remember correctly, and then you were very dominant at Watkins Glen. At the very end when we saw Eric come out and get that big win, you were out ahead of the field for the majority of the race. So wouldn't be surprised to see something like that at the Roval next week. So I think there's still a chance, but like you said, it's going to be a tall order if Drew doesn't DNF out of this race.
Yeah, let's say he's still finished. I'm still gonna stay in the race just so I can get the end points, because, you know, I'm still gonna get some. But I mean,
oh, absolutely.
I'd say at most, I mean, realistically, I can only make up maybe, even if I do my very best, like 6-7 points a race. So I mean, and that's gonna add up to like 21, and he's what, 33 ahead
like
or so.
30 something, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see at the end, but I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Well, and it's been a really good season for you. You've had some strong finishes, some that win back at Auto Club. It's been a good run for you, but we'll have to see if you can get that car back out there here tonight, maybe gain another spot or 2. I'm sure there's more wrecks that are going to happen based on the way we're driving right now.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, minute left. I'm probably going to get out here in a second, so appreciate you.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for hopping into the booth, and best of luck by getting back out on track, and best of luck next week at the Roval.
Thank you.
That was Min Hang, driver of the number 2 for McGinnis Motorsports. And he, like he said, he's going to try and get that car back out there and get one more run at it. But let's go take a look at that caution now that we've got a moment and see exactly what happened with Jared Newton here. We'll go to the blimp because that seems to show us the best thing. And yeah, it looks like he just came up. So I went the wrong way with that replay. Go back again here. You can see, yeah, he just drifted up. Not sure why. Almost seems like there was an issue with the wheel that caused him to do that. But it looks like Newton back out on track. Not going to lose a lap either. Neither will Tyler Glass. He's going to be 13th, last car on the lead lap. See if any of their drivers try to come down this time around. It looks like we might have a few takers. Or everybody has takers. Are we going to have a single file restart? It looks like we might, as everybody's coming down the pit lane. Now, the thing about this stop, This will for sure get you to the end. Min-Heng makes his way out. That car seems to be all fixed. So Min-Heng coming out about 6 laps down. We'll see how he's able to do getting back out. So it sounds like they are going to, since everybody came down the pit lane, they are going to go double file, even though technically, according to iRacing, it should be a single file restart. So we will see 2 wide start. The row 1. We'll have Tim Moore and Brandon Schulenberger. Row 2 will be Colin Teague, Jared Talmadge. Row 3, Thomas Green and Drew Jua. And going back to row 4, Ryan Minnicker, Jolene Sims. Row 5 will be Gatlin Downing, Jonathan Amodio. We're going to go green flag racing this time around with 40 laps to go. A lot of drivers have used their fast repair at this point. We've got some dinged up cars. It seems like most of them have gotten fully repaired. Now it comes down to just keeping that car clean to the end if you have used that fast repair. Trying to put yourself in a position to win this race. Lyle hopping into the chat here saying Tim gonna get his first win of the season. He has been itching all season long to get that first win. He has just not had any luck with it. It has been very, very elusive. This is a big opportunity for him. It's this or Chicagoland is what he kind of has circled on his schedule. He knows the Roval, not his expertise. He's just going and getting points to that race. This is the big time to try and get a race win and try to get him back into the championship fight. As we're green flag racing yet again, 40 laps to go here for the Alabama 250 for the Online Motorsports Association Virtual Racing Championship. Lots of cars way back there, led by Gatlin Downey. Colin Teague right now pushing Tim Moore. You've got Jared Talmadge on the outside pushing Brandon Schulenberger. And Colin Teague, one of those drivers, he had a really good run throughout the middle of the season. It wasn't the best of starts for him, but once we got towards that middle part of the season, he really came into his own. We really had some good driving, some good results, or was up in the mix for the majority of a race, but just couldn't get it when it mattered at the end. We see him again here, similar situation. He's been up towards the front of the pack for most of the race, getting caught up in a couple incidents here and there, but for the most part, that car, that 51, has been up towards the front. He's one of those drivers that, had he just had a better start to the season, we definitely would have seen him fighting in the playoffs here. Tyler Glass go down the middle. He's back onto the lead lap. We're going to see the Cowboys car come through and get to the front, but unlike his team, can they actually finish when it matters most? He's got Min-Heng behind. McGinnis Motorsports drivers 1-2 now on the inside line. You got to look back a little bit further to find Jolene Sims. She's currently hanging back in what is 9th place. The first time tonight, Tyler Glass gets himself a lap lead. It looks like he was just going for the lap lead, and he's going to drop to the outside line. Now you also have Thomas Green up here fighting as well. Thomas Green, he is currently in 2nd place. You have to ignore Min-Heng. Min-Heng's car completely clean. However, he is a lap car. He is currently 5 laps down. That is fair. The Cowboys did finish the Jets today, and they finished off the Giants last week. But it's when it matters most. They don't finish in the playoffs. They also have really bad play calls in the playoffs. If we think back to last season, #1 center in the NFL, Zeke Elliott. great play calling there. And then the waste of time at the end of the game against the San Francisco 49ers the year before, where they could have moved on to the divisional round, and they just kind of blew it with poor time management. So, yeah, they do well in the regular season. Regular season isn't what matters, though. If it did, the Pittsburgh Steelers, not the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers would have been champions, like, for how many years? Because they were one of the best in the NFC year in, year out. But enough football talk. I mean, we could go on and on about it right now, because the NFL is a very interesting world right now with how things are playing out. You've got there's just a lot happening with the Aaron Rodgers injury. You've got the Bengals are struggling bad right now with Burrow not performing, all sorts of stuff. But again, I could go on and on and on. But that's what the Sports Speak podcast is all for. You can go check those guys out. A little bit of a plug there for them. Brandon Schulenberger currently in a beautiful situation. Not only is he the race leader, but he's got a car in front, so he's able to save fuel for the end of the race. Chad Canal said clear, and you didn't see Miniker. Ooh, that's no good. Yeah, the Falcons finishing games don't go together. Considering last year they blew a 28-3 lead again. Or no, they almost came back from a 28-3 lead and couldn't finish that game, and then the Super Bowl, yeah. If you ever are interested, speaking of 28-3, if you watch any sports YouTubers, check out 5 Points, I think it's 5 Points Vids. He did a video on how the Falcons could have just done a kneel down in the second half and could have won that game instead of losing it. It's a really interesting video. The laps are taken away here, though. 34 to go as we come across the line. Schulenberger still your race leader. Pretty much everybody has abandoned the top. And we're now playing a bit of strategy, trying to see where we can wait out to try and make moves. Trying to set up your opportunities a little bit later on. If you take a look from the wide angle here, everybody's sitting a couple car lengths apart. Nobody wants to get up too close. Nobody wants to make a mistake because, again, a lot of these drivers have used their fast repairs, being a little hesitant. Don't want to get too aggressive and cause a wreck that takes yourself out of this race. And for some of these drivers, out of the championship battle. Everybody single file. Schulenberger, Sims, Glass, Teague, Green are your top 5 right now. And you just see a lot of patience being shown. It's going to be a little bit of a slow drive here. From here, it seems like, until we get down to the final, probably 20 laps is when we'll start seeing moves made again. If you're one of these drivers further back, you're going to have to start making your momentum runs around lap 20-15 to go. Otherwise, you're not going to be there at the end when it matters. But the thing that's really hurting drivers right now is that Schulenberger has help in front of him. Having Minhang in front right now is a huge help because, one, he doesn't have to worry about a driver behind getting a ton of momentum. He's got somebody in front that he can rely on. And number 2, he gets to save fuel. He doesn't have to sit full throttle. He can just kind of ride it out here. You can see a lot of these drivers trying to see if they could save it for the fuel. You see Jolene Sims, she's not really pushing. She doesn't want to get up on the back end of the 5 here of Schulenberger. So it's interesting to see the strategies come out right now. Is everybody just hanging out at this point? While we are in this single file line, why don't we go ahead and turn off the mic and we'll kick up the sound a little bit to give you the sights and sounds of the Talladega Superspeedway. We hope you enjoyed the sights and sounds of Talladega Superspeedway. During that, we see Tyler Glass make his way to the front. He is now your race leader. We saw Tim Moore drew us jump to the outside line, and they push all the way to the front from the rear. So you have a new race leader in the 8. Then you've got the OCM 2-3 right now, Jolene Sims. A bit further off here, back in 4th with Colin Teague in 5th. But still, drivers being very patient here as we're doing single file. Nobody really looking to make moves. I'm surprised. While we were riding on board with Jared Talmadge, but we didn't see him make a move to the outside to try and join the OCM drivers. But here go Jolene Sims, Thomas Green on the outside. And they should be able to at least move up a spot or two. You can see that gap there right now. There's not a lot of organization here from that inside line. They've kind of spread off. A big push from Thomas Green, but it's not going to be enough. Here comes Jared Talmadge. He's going to slot himself into the inside line. Looks like Thomas Green will join his teammate there on the inside. Again, ready to come across the line, 26 to go. Some drivers have put themselves in interesting situations right now. Jolene Sims, she was running towards the front, now drops to the rear. You had the drivers in the back of Tim Moore and Drew Joie move up to the front. Some other drivers that need to make moves, like James Mendez, Jonathan Amodio, currently sitting kind of middle of this pack. Same with Jared Talmadge, another driver. Needs to get ahead of Drew, be able to gain points here for the race. Try and keep this battle for the championship close. And look out, here goes Tim all the way to the outside here. He may be looking to get to the front at this point. It seems like he might be dropping to the rear. It looks like he is. But interesting that they made that push all the way to the front, but he's going to drop to the back now. Maybe trying to see if he can wait out something happening a little bit later on in the race. We've seen Drew drop to the rear more often than we have Tim, so we'll see what Drew's plan is from here. As you can see him getting nice and close to the 8 car. And he's going to push him all the way down the backstretch there. One thing I wish I could tell you guys is the amount of lead changes we've had here tonight. There have been so many lead changes. Lots of different drivers had a chance to lead a lap. I think the number of drivers that haven't led a lap are fewer than those that have. I believe drivers like Thomas Green, maybe James Mendez, Gatlin Downey might be some of the few that have yet to lead a lap here tonight. And actually, while we're waiting here, I want to take a look back. What happened there between Schulenberger and Min-Heng right at the beginning of our sights and sound segment? Because that ended up bringing Min-Heng out of the race. And, oh my goodness, yeah, he straight up dumped the two. Tyler Glass and Drew onto the outside line now. Looks like Colin T gonna settle into the race lead yet again. Thomas Green behind. And it seems like Drew gonna try dropping to the back. And Victor, don't worry about hopping in. It's all good. We've got 23 laps remaining here. We'll be 22 across the line this next time around. Yeah, but a lot of drivers so far are looking for the fuel save option is what it seems. As we're a little bit slower on pace than what we have been. Colin Teague to the race lead. Currently, the hard charger up 10 spots from his start of 11th. And there's Min Hang yet again. Coming back out on track. That puts him 7 laps down now. Unfortunate for him. But he joins this line, choo-choo, on the inside line. Everybody deciding to run the bottom right now. Ah, bots. Love it. There we go. We got rid of the bot. Don't worry. Yeah, everybody's out there saving. Everybody's saving. Jolene is always in the chat and in the race. It's impressive, honestly. But Gallon Downey to the race lead. What a push they made on the outside line. Ryan Maker's trying to join them. And we're gonna have a new race leader. Gallon Downey, as long as he can get around to complete the lap, will be race leader for the first time tonight for him. And now we're up to 2 lines. On the outside line, we've got Ryan Miniker, James Mendez, Min Hang. So there you go. Some of these drivers need to make moves. Looking to try and do so. The inside line, Gatlin Downey leads. He gets his first lap lead of the night. Jolene Sims and Colin Teague. So what'll be interesting is the wild card right now of Min Hang. He really has nothing in this fight. Gatlin Downey elects to go all the way to the apron for some reason. Not really sure why. An interesting call to go to the bottom, but it's an odd way to drop to the rear. Instead of just getting out of the way, he joined back on the racing surface. The fuel save all the way. Taking a look, you can see the last time everybody came down pit lane. Lap 53. I get some 41 laps of fuel if we stay green to the end of the race. So it will be very, very close going to the end. And actually, we could do stint length. You can get a better look at it that way. There you go. We currently have done 22 laps. The longest we've done tonight, 32 laps. Looks like Min might drop to the rear here. Drew's going to capitalize on the fact that he's out there. Slingshots him way to the outside. He's going to try and get around Min. That's going to get Drew from last to first around the front stretch. Wow. Let's go back, watch that again. So watch Drew. Slight check there. And look at this momentum that he carries all the way around. It's just impressive that he works his way all the way around these guys. We're getting down to the final few laps. 17 to go as we cross the line. Championship leader, Drew Chua, your race leader right now. Jolene Sims in the 6 car in second. Colin Teague in third. Ryan Miniker fourth. Thomas Green rounds out the top 5. Still, as many drivers currently opting to just ride out and wait to see what happens and then make a move later on. We keep flip-flopping the race lead, and right now, McGinnis Motorsports actually kind of somehow incidentally put themselves in a beautiful situation. Min Hang, that car is mostly clean. is up in front. He's currently 6 laps down. Has been flip-flopping between 6 and 7, but he finds himself in a situation to help out his teammate. Jolene Sims has been trying to save fuel. She can capitalize on that by using the draft from mid-hang, can push him and save fuel in the process while still controlling this race. That's the beautiful thing of it. That might be the difference maker to be able to get her the race win. We'll have to wait and see. She's won 2 races this season. Won at Old Atlanta and 1 at Michigan. Almost won last week. Had over 100 laps led at Richmond. But ended up finishing, I believe, 4th if I'm remembering correctly. We take a look here as they come around the front stretch again. And it is going to be Jolene Sims still in control as we cross the line now, 15 remaining. Don't be surprised if we see something come up from the back here soon. When drivers try and make moves, I would be shocked if we don't see drivers like James Mendes and Jonathan Amodio try to make a push to the front. Right now, Jared Talmadge kind of in a desperate situation to try and get to the front with both rivals in the championship fight with Jolene Sims and Drew Joua up there running 1-2 on track. He's currently sandwiched in 2nd place in the points. He needs a big finish here if he wants to continue to close that gap on Drew. Right now, I think Talmadge is in a good situation as well. He's got teammate Thomas Green in front of him. But he's got somebody he knows he can trust to try and push at the end. It's all about building timing and getting that momentum to work just at the right time. One driver I'm surprised to see at the back right now is the 69 of Tim Moore. Again, we've talked about this all season long. He's been a great driver. He's currently 5th in points. He's been in situations where he can get wins, but just can't seem to close it out the right way. He's still winless on the season. It's crazy that a driver of his talent, of his caliber, has not been able to get himself a win. That just goes to show how strong this field is, but at the same time, it's been tough for him. It's been mentally draining. He talks about every time he's up here in the booth, wanting to get that car into victory lane. This is a great opportunity to try and do it, but he needs to start making a move if he's going to get that 69 car to the front, as we now have 13 laps remaining in the Alabama 250. Everybody up in the front of the field, still waiting out. I mean, to be honest, drivers like a Colin Teague or Ryan Miniker, if they're going to make a move to get to the front, they don't need to do it until the final, 2-3 laps. However, if you're a driver like a Tyler Glass, a Gatlin Downey further back in the field, you're going to have to make that move a little bit sooner, and your time is starting to close out here as we've got 12 remaining. It seems like at this point of the race, fuel not really an issue. Let's take a look again here at the pit numbers. 29 laps on fuel. We made it 32, and we're good the first time around. We're currently at 29. It'll be 30 this time around. You think to the end of the race, only 41 laps. But you're going to that full way on that tank. So it seems like these drivers have saved enough at this point to make it that full distance on fuel. It'll be close, though. We'll have to wait and see. Colin T keeps peeking around the outside there. He thinks about making a move, but that's a big order to try and make your way around the outside solo. We haven't seen many drivers pull off a lot of success. They can make up a couple spots, but to try and make it around 3 unassisted, It's going to be tough, that's for sure. Ryan Maker might be able to do it here if he builds this run right. He can maybe jump himself to the front, but is going to have to really utilize that side draft if he's going to do it. Doesn't seem like he wants to, just kind of hanging out here. Tim Moore jumping to the outside, not going to gain him any spots there. We're down to 10 laps remaining. Tim Moore slowly picking off a couple drivers here in the back. He's got some help with Jared Newton and Tyler Glass. Jared Newton, never mind. He's going to drop back in line. Tyler Glass will come on board. There's Drew. He's going to jump to the outside. He's going to pull teammate Tim Moore up to the front. We saw this story once already. A big push here is going to get Drew clear of the front. Your new race leader again is Drew Joie. He won the Daytona 250. Going to try and win the Alabama 250, but Tim Moore, it was a drag race to the finish between the two of these, if you remember, all the way back to Daytona back in March. And oh no! That is Tyler Glass having some trouble there. Gets into Thomas Green. That's going to cause a lot of issues on that top line as the entire field had gone up there with them. But here come Jolene Sims and mid-hang. They are zooming up down the back stretch. And mid-hang is going to drop out here. That's going to be it for him. Any other drivers coming down, it looks like we are still all here. Min-hang dropping out there, though. So now, we are all running the top line. You take a look from the wide angle here, you can just see how far back this goes. Everybody shifted from the bottom to the top. Now the Drew's the race leader. Things are getting really interesting here up at the front. Tyler Glass having a little bit of connection issues, making things a little nerve-wracking there for the three. Wanting to push him, but how hard can you push him if you're not sure where he's at on track? But right now, I think the 4 and the 69 have put themselves in a best situation to try and defend. Here comes Jolene Sims down the inside in the 6. She doesn't have much. Got no help coming with her. Gonna have to settle in again back with the rest of the crew at the end of the line. It almost looks like Tyler Glass may be trying to set up a run here in a moment, because he keeps hanging back off the 69. He's not right up there on Tim Moore. Could T-Glass be trying to find his first race win of the season? Six laps remaining here as we come down to the inside now. Drivers all going to the bottom. Jolene Sims having to avoid Ryan Miniker there. A little bit of a checkup. Able to keep that car clean, though. Very, very important at this point in the race. Coming down the back stretch, you can see Tyler Glass still not closing up, and it almost seems like that is a choice that he's making. Rather than trying to get up there, he keeps hanging back. Looks like he's waiting for an opportunity at this point. You see the line goes up top now, following Drew as he's just trying to keep everybody on their toes, on edge. Going to take a little bit of momentum here from Min Heng as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody on the outside try and use him. And there they are, Jolene Sims. Going to use that momentum from Min Heng on the outside. Is it going to be enough, though? She really needs to get some headway if she's going to make her way up this field. But right now, kind of stagnant here towards the back. There we go. She's getting a little bit of a run with 5 remaining. Nobody on the outside, though, with her. He's going to get some help. James Mendez and Min Hang both settle in behind Jolene Sims. And they make a run. Here comes Tim Moore. Moving up into the middle. That's going to really help. Jonathan Amodio, Colin Teague. Oh, Tyler Glass is going to jump up there with the teammates. Almost caused him to get to the wall, though. Here comes Jolene Sims down to the bottom. She's going to get in front of teammate Tyler Glass. Can T Glass get up there, though, to get a push? He's got help from Thomas Green behind, as well as Jared Talmadge. Very unsettling out of the exit there. 4 laps to go. It's McGinnis Motorsports versus OCM Racing on the outside. We got still a lot of time to go in this race. To the end, anything can happen. As a reminder, if we take the white flag, the race is official, and the next flag we take is the checkered, no matter what happens. If the yellow comes out beforehand, we rack it up, and we'll go to overtime. Jolene Sims tries to block the OCM drivers. Not going to be able to. She needs help desperately as she's stuck in the middle. She's going to drop back. It is Tyler Glass and Drew Joie on the outside there. It's a drag race here as Thomas Green is going to get a great push on Tyler Glass. Jared Talmadge also on the inside. OCM stranded on that top line. They're going to get some help, though, from Jolene Sims and Min Hang here. Looks like Jonathan Amodio, James Mendez maybe joining that outside, but the first 3 cars almost getting clear. Thomas Green's going to look for himself a race win, possibly. Jumping to the outside with Drew. He's going to move up to the front. That's going to get him to the race lead as he gets a little squirrely coming around turns 3 and 4. But as low, that is a slidey Tyler Glass. They're able to redeem that, save that. That's going to scrub a lot of speed, though. Thomas Green, a non-playoff driver, to the front. They come across the line. Thomas Green, your race leader, with 2 to go. White flag in hand here for Barney the Flagman. Will he get to wave it, though, when we come around the front stretch? Drew's pushing Thomas Green like none other. Tyler Glass gets loose. He gets hit unsquare from Jared Talmadge. Oh, Jared Talmadge throws Jolene Sims into the wall. That outside line has carried all the momentum. Tim Moore to the inside. He's going to try and carry some momentum to try and get to the race lead. He doesn't have help out back. Can the side draft help him out? But he doesn't have any help here. Not good for Tim Moore. He was hoping to get his first win coming across the line here. The white flag is out. And we are going to take the white. It's a race to finish here now. Thomas Green, your race leader. Jolene Sims in second. Drew in third, but Jonathan Amodio going to the bottom to the inside line. Jared Talmadge on that outside line pushing Drew. These two have worked together really well before. Jolene's going to block that outside line. Going to try and carry that momentum. They are bobbing and weaving out here on the outside line. Thomas Green now dropping to the back. Colin Teague in third. Tyler Glass in fourth. Tyler Glass is going to try and use that momentum to get to the inside line. Here comes Tim Moore as well. Tim now up to fourth. 3 wide as they come around the back in third and fourth turns. And now Jolene Sims holding on to the race lead. Colin Teague turns Tim Moore. Jolene Sims, Drew Jua, they're bumping as they come across the tri-oval. Can Jared Talmadge make a move? 3 wide across the line. That's a photo finish, I think. I think Jolene Sims is your race winner. What a finish. Thousandths of a second separating Drew and Jolene. Let's go back and see that again here. And we can go to the photo finish cam as well. I mean, just take a look here as we get ready to come across the line. Look how close this finish is. Oh my gosh. About a hair. I mean, even you can go here. Let's go to the photo finish cam. Hard to tell as it comes across. We'll see if we can get one more one more good look at it. Oh wait, we're going the wrong way here. We want to go the other direction here. Did we get them across the line yet? Yeah, we did. Okay. See if we can pause it here as they get ready to come across the line. There you go. There's a look at just how close that was. What a finish. Absolutely phenomenal. Great run there. Jolene Sims gets her 3rd win of the season. Drew 2nd place. And Jarrett Talmadge in 3rd. So let's go ahead and bring them into the booth here. But before we do, let's go through our race results. And go through how things played out here tonight. Taking a look. Race winner Jolene Sims, 4 thousandths of a second. That's all it was, 4 thousandths of a second. And Jared Talmadge, a 1/4 of a tenth of a second behind. Very, very close finish for those 3. Then we have James Mendez, Jonathan Amodio, Ryan Miniker, Tyler Glass, Thomas Green, Gatlin Downey, and Jared Newton rounding out the top 10. Then Colin Teague and Tim Moore round out the field of lead lap cars. Brandon Schulenberger, 13th. Jimmy Amos in 14th. Min Hang in 15th. And then Kyle England finishes out the field here tonight. Let's go take a look here. Oh, let's go talk with our race finisher, or top 3 here. Give me one moment as we get ready to pull them on in. Let's see. I don't see Jolene Sims. We'll see if we can try and get her in the booth. But you have Jarrett Talmadge waiting, and I believe we can pull Drew as well. Let's go ahead and get Jarrett Talmadge in here. And Jarrett, that was one heck of a finish you guys had. You came across the line. You were almost there for the race win. But my goodness, what a finish you had. Congratulations on 3rd place.
Yeah, it was a pretty good finish. I messed up there. I think I should have won that. I lifted to back up to Teague in 3 and 4 right when Drew and JoJo kind of got together, and I just got a little too far back, and then I needed the start finish line to be another 100 feet from where it is, and I probably would have had it.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm fine with the 3rd though. Just controlling what I can control. I believe I outscored Drew, which is really what I'm just key on here. It's really all that matters. So I'm happy I survived the plate track P3.
Yeah, definitely a great finish. You did well throughout the entire race, putting yourself in a great spot to be there at the end. But looking forward, you talk about the points race, and it's really close between you, Jolene, and Drew. So as funny as it is that the 3 of you finished 1, 2, and 3 here tonight. Taking a look, we've got the Charlotte Roval, Phoenix, Chicagoland. If you do close up that points gap here tonight with 7 coming in, bringing maybe even within 5 makes it a really realistic opportunity for you to take the championship. What is it looking like here coming into the Charlotte Roval next week for you?
Well, I don't know if Drew got stage points because the timing and scoring was messed up at the line. I think I got 7th. He was scored outside of 10th at the line, so I'm going to assume he didn't. And if so, that's actually really huge because it should put it right. And I think it's going to stay the same, though, because he did finish ahead. But that win's going to bring JoJo into it for sure. So it looks like it's going to be – I think it's really just going to be us 3. I think 4th is going to be a little too far back. And I'm not excited for the Roval, if I'm being honest with you. I kind of struggle when it comes to – at least on terms of JoJo and Drew on road course pace, kind of struggles.
The thing with the Roval, I mean, that is a tough track. It's really challenging. We saw both Jolene and Drew have their own individual struggles with the Long Beach track towards the end of the race. So we'll see how things fare out for that. Drew actually popping into the chat right now for the stream, saying that he is currently 4 points over you and then 7 on Jolene. So that fight is very, very close for the championship.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy coming out of the final races. hoping going to the Roval, come out just damage limitation, as I guess you could call it. Stay within a couple, and then Chicago and Phoenix end the season should be pretty good. I'm pretty confident in both of those, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me here in the booth. Congratulations on third place, and you bring yourself just a little bit closer to catching up on Drew. Before you go, anything you would like to say? Anybody else you would like to thank?
Yeah, shout out you for putting on the broadcast, everyone who runs the league, my teammate Thomas, and then all the people I worked with tonight, including Drew there at the end.
All right, well, congratulations again, Jarrett, on that third place finish. Coming away big here tonight, closing that gap just a little bit closer for the championship lead.
Okay.
So now we're going to bring in our second place finisher here tonight. Currently your points leader. We've got Drew, I almost said it wrong. Drew Joie. I hope I said that correctly this time. But Drew is currently 4 points ahead of Jarrett, like we just talked about. And Drew, that was a wild race for you throughout. Like, there was a mix of things. You got caught up in what seemed like every incident, but coming across just 0.004 of a second short from taking that race win.
Yeah, that's a good finish. Kind of disappointed in myself. I know what you have to do, especially when you're ahead of the field and you're pushing someone, and they're basically sitting duck, and I kind of was dumb there and made the move way too early. Went to the wrong side as well. I wasn't really looking to the wall to see how close we were to it, but after I look back at it, I definitely had more room to the wall, and I should have made a move that way instead of to the left side. And JoJo was able to side draft my right rear, and she was able to beat me by 0.004 of a second there.
Yeah, I don't think it also helped that you also had someone on the inside, because then Jarrett came onto the inside trying to see if he can make a move. Honestly, I think if the start finish line was maybe another 50 to 100 feet, we could have had three cars within a hundredth of a second of each other. Would have been one heck of a finish. But that finish tonight here, the closest finish, third closest finish in OMA and VRC history. So really impressive to see what you guys were able to do. But throughout that race, just not the cleanest for you, unfortunately, getting caught up in all those different incidents, but putting yourself in a great spot. You're holding on to that championship lead going into the Roval. And I mean, the three of you guys really, really close, as you told us in the points. It's only a 7-point spread from you to Jolene. What can we expect going into the Roval for you? What's the plan? Well, I know you probably don't want to give away what the strategy is or anything like that, but it's going to be really interesting to see how all three of you decide to take that track.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like you said, I have 4 points over Jared and 7 over Jolene there, and I kind of shot myself in the foot there. I got an EOL because I was trying to push Ryan, and he had Teague in front of him, and I kind of shoved Ryan into a bad place. So I gave myself an EOL, and then I don't really know what happened on that white flag. But halfway, I kind of was trying to get up to Hades to try and push, get him up to Amodio, and I guess when I pushed him, like, he was not straight on Amodia's back bumper. But yeah, it's gonna be. I'm not too sure what the strategy is. I know the last time I've run at the Roval, I did pretty well in NIS, so it's going to be interesting to see. I know JoJo's pretty good at road courses. I'm not too sure with Jared. I know he's good on other sims and games, but I'm not too sure how good he is on iRacing road courses. So it's going to be interesting. Kind of just disappointed in myself. I know I should have made the move later, and that's the reason that I'm not in victory lane. So, congratulations, JoJo. She deserved to win. She made a clean move, got back to me side drafting, and was able to win, I think, her third win this season?
I believe that's her third race, yes.
Mm-hmm. So,
hey, but nonetheless, you came away second place. You are currently still leading the points championship, so you put yourself in a good spot. That gap shrunk a little bit, but not too bad. So it's a good thing to be in the points lead going into the final three races. Before you head on out, Drew, anybody you would like to thank? Anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, shout out to Team OCM. Shout out to Tim, Ryan, Kyle. T Gloss was helping us as well. All of them. Unfortunately, there was a couple imposters at our VC, like one of Min Hang who was not trying to help me. But then a shout out to you and the rest of the OMA Association for allowing us to race here, and we'll see what we can do at Charlin. Maybe we'll win our 7th win of the season.
All right, well, congratulations again on your 2nd place finish, Drew. Best of luck next week at the Charlotte Roval.
Thank you.
That was Drew Joa, the driver of the number 4 machine, finishing 2nd place here tonight. And now we've got here in the booth your race winner, 3rd time winning this season, Jolene Sims. She's won at the Old Atlanta, she won at Michigan, and now winning here tonight at Talladega. And Jolene, congratulations, what a finish. 4 thousandths of a second, the 3rd closest finish in OMA and VRC history.
I know, right? Oh my goodness. I've never been so pumped. I've never had more fun. I've never raced so well. I've raced harder, but I was so much fun racing with these guys today, because before that first stage, like, everyone was racing so hard. I was worried that I was going to be a single file the whole time, but everyone just kept like racing. It was so much fun. And those last 2 laps, man, I remember I was leading with like 10 to go or whatever, and like Drew and Tim all everybody put me back on the inside, and I dropped way back to the field. And for those like last 5 laps, they just kept on trying to see if anyone would make a move, because I was the last car in the pack, and kept on looking out, like seeing what would happen. And when Min or some lap car came across the track, or like everyone just like kept on fading from the outside to the inside, and that formed 2 lanes, and 2 to go down the back straightaway. Min radioed to me he was behind me, he was going to push me, take it 3 wide. I was able to take the run, barely able to get past Talmadge there on the back straight, hit the wall even, and somehow in some way that ended me up in 3rd in line. And man, everything is such a blur for me, because basically everything worked out. I was so close to throwing the line.
For you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm real happy with this
I will
one.
say, I was wondering, so throughout the race, after Min got into that big wreck, and it caused him to go, I believe it was like 6 laps down or so, a lot of the time when you were up at the front, Min was up there with you, and he was pulling you. Was that something you guys had planned out to try and get you to make sure you had enough fuel to get to the end since you were leading?
I guess so. I mean, it kind of just did work out that way. I didn't really have it in my mind. I knew I was saving fuel, but me and Min didn't really talk about like going like him coming up to the front for me to save fuel. He radioed to get to the front just because if there's a caution, he'd get his lap back, and I was like, okay. So we all like dropped back, and that's how people in the back of the field are getting those huge runs and going straight to the front. That happened like twice, I think.
Yeah, there were a couple guys that managed to pull that off.
Yeah, but no, it was just great timing, I guess. We did the same thing at New Atlanta too, where it's me in first place and Min leading the line.
Now, taking a look next week, so you closed that gap, that points lead down from, I believe it was 18, down to 7. So a huge difference in points coming in to next week. We go to the Charlotte Roval. You and Drew have been some pretty strong front runners for the road courses. Jared is also a very solid road course runner. While he might not be competing for the wins with you guys, he is always in that top 5 competing up there. What is the goal? I mean, obviously the goal is to get the race win, but kind of like what's the plan going into the Roval? Because if we remember back to Long Beach, did not quite finish the way that you wanted to, having some incidents towards the end of the race. So what's the plan going in for the 6 team to try and maybe even jump into the points lead next week?
Really, it's just do what I have been doing all season, every track. Been fast everywhere, and like road courses have really like improved for me since Watkins Glen, and Drew's been really close. So going into there, it's just all about practicing beforehand and just doing what I know how to do. Me and Drew will be really close, and I'm not sure how it'll turn out, but just got to drive as the best I can and make no mistakes. That's what it's going to take to win the championship.
All right, well, best of luck next week when we go to the Charlotte Roval. But before we have you head on out and celebrate your third win of the season, anybody you would like to thank or anything else you would like to say?
I'd like to thank you for streaming this. I think this is the best super speedway race we had this season. We're racing all night long. Ton of fun. I can't wait to watch back on it. And thanks to the whole McGinnis team for just all working together there, and especially with Min at the end. It was just a ton of fun. I feel like this whole season, McGinnis hasn't been really good at working together, but we definitely did this race. So it was great racing. I'd like to thank the entire VRC field for at least all the 14 people that showed up. We made sure as a show for the broadcast, and just really happy to get this win. The only thing missing is burnouts at the end because I ran out of fuel. I barely had enough. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You
But,
timed it literally just perfectly. That's awesome. Good job.
Thank you.
And congratulations again, Jolene, on your third win here of the season. 7 points out from the championship lead. So best of luck next week as we go road course racing at the Charlotte Roval.
Let's do it.
That was Jolene Sims, driver of the 6 car. Her third win of the season here at Talladega Superspeedway. But with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for the night. And we want to take a moment to thank you all for joining us here at No Name Gaming and Racing Lights Productions for the Online Motorsports Association's Virtual Racing Championship Alabama 250. Congratulations again to Jolene Sims on getting her third win of the season in tonight's race. Our championship fight gets much, much closer as we head to the Charlotte Roval next week for our final road course race of the season. The top 3 separated by just 7 points. We hope you all enjoyed the broadcast tonight. I want to thank the OMA for allowing us to bring this race to all of you. Be sure to check out Racing Lights Productions on Twitter and at Racing Lights Pro as well as on Facebook and Instagram. You can also head over to the YouTube channel to check out any previous broadcasts you may have missed. I'm Alex Light saying good night and to you from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. Thanks again for